from the station working for you. This is breaking news from RTV6.
Breaking now at 6:30. Once again, the city of Indianapolis is setting a new record for homicides in a year. 150 people have now been killed across the city after a new deadly shooting overnight. This most recent killing happened near 34th Street and Emerson Avenue. We have team coverage of this record-setting homicide and a closer look at the trends we've seen in the violence over the last year. This now marks the third straight year that Indianapolis has set a new homicide record. The latest shooting happening early this morning in the 5300 block of Butler Terrace on the city's northeast side. Good morning, Indiana's Nicole Griffin begins our team coverage this morning with details on this shooting. Nicole, what have you been able to learn?
And Meredith, good morning. At this hour, homicide detectives are still trying to determine who shot and killed a man here at the Hawthorne Place apartment complex. Take a look at some video on your screen right now. This is when our crew first arrived on scene, and you can see here family members are clearly very upset. They're the ones that actually flagged down officers when they arrived on scene. You can see here in this video, the victim was actually found inside this townhome around 12:30 this morning, and he did suffer from several gunshot wounds. Police are now talking to family members who were here in this area, trying to find out more information about the victim and who may have been involved. If you know anything in this area, please contact Crime Stoppers at that anonymous line. That number's 317-262-TIPS. Now, joining us out here live this morning is Reverend Charles Harrison with the 10-Point Coalition. As we wake up this morning to this sad news, 150 homicides in our city, what is your reaction?
Well, I'm very sad that, we have had, another year where we have seen, a lot of homicides. A lot of families have been affected by this, and it makes you sad, to see this level of senseless violence in our city. And, my heart is out to the family this morning and all the families that have experienced violence this year.
You are working in neighborhoods all across our city. Tell me about the work you're doing and the work that you think needs to be done.
Well, the work that 10-Point does, we focus mainly on addressing youth violence, particularly young men of color between the ages of 12 and 24. We're located right now in the 46208 zip code, and we hope to expand and help out in other areas of the city. It's going to take a real city effort to, address this problem. We put too much of a burden on police who are not equipped to deal with the social ills of our society, and we need everyone involved if we're going to turn this around.
You were telling me as we were talking off camera, there are a lot of root problems that need addressed. Tell me about some of those problems you see.
Well, the biggest cause is poverty and drugs. There's too much drug trafficking in these neighborhoods that is directed, really at the poverty that we're experiencing. We have too many dysfunctional families where fathers are not in the lives of their sons and daughters. We have to address these root causes if we're going to bring down the level of violence in the city.
Thank you for your time this morning. We do appreciate it. Our Julie Pursley is actually standing by right now at the live desk, taking a closer look at those homicide numbers. Julie, good morning.
Good morning. Now, the neighborhood where this happened, it is up on the northeast side. It is in the Arlington Woods. And so far, Metro Police have said the victim in that case was a man in his 20s. Now, we've been looking at the numbers across the board, and it's homicide trends that we're seeing that are affecting men, women, and children. Now, last year, out of the 149 homicides, 22 were women. So far in 2017, 31 women have been murdered. And when it comes to people who have been charged with murder, last year, 7 of them were teens. That number has jumped to 17 this year. When it comes to victims, 17 teens have been killed this year. It's about the same number as last year. But again, we're seeing so many young people across the city who have been affected by this violence. And this continues to show a trend of young people and families who have been affected. And it comes on the heels of a 70% increase in the encounters IMPD has with juveniles carrying firearms. Again, according to this morning, Metro Police say they do not have information yet about the suspect or the motive. We'll continue to stay on top of this story. Meredith.
Julie, thank you very much. And if you would like to take a closer look at the crime data from this year, the RTV6 app is the place to look. We have a complete breakdown of every homicide in 2017, including a look at the most dangerous neighborhoods in the city. That's all just a click away on the RTV6 app. Time now is 6:35. Let's hand things over to Todd for a check of your weather.
And Lauren, or Meredith rather, we need to use a little bit of caution on the roadways here this morning as we're dealing with some areas of fog. It's not super thick across the area, but nonetheless it may slow you down just a little bit. So as the kids head off to the bus stop, not only do we have the fog, we have a little bit of patchy drizzle, but here's the good news. The temperature, we're sitting at 42 degrees. It's relatively mild for this time of year, at least for this time of the morning. The thickest fog is over in Wayne County in the Richmond area, and visibility reduced all the way from Richmond back into Indianapolis. So if your travels take you along Interstate 70, just know that the visibility could be an issue for you in spots. As far as temperatures, again, everybody's in the 30s and 40s. Now, as far as the rain goes, there's some patchy drizzle. It's not really getting picked up on the radar, but you may have to throw your windshield wipers on here and there throughout the course of your morning commute. But by this afternoon, just lots of clouds will land and high temperatures in the upper 40s.
All right, thank you, Todd. As you're taking to the roads this morning, a lot of crashes just popping up on our radar as more people are heading out for work today. We have this crash in Plainfield. That's at Main Street at US 40 Mecklenburg Drive. So pay attention to this as you are making your way out the door this morning. We also have an injury crash Thompson Road at East Street down on the south side. Then over on the east side, we have an injury crash 30th Street at Franklin Road. But other than that, the good news is that all is moving up to speed in the area. So just use extra caution in your low beams as you are making your way to work this morning.
Elena, thank you. More than 300 flights into and out of Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport have already been canceled today. That's the impact from a massive power outage that struck the world's busiest airport last night. The lights are back on this morning, but the ripple effect is still being felt across the country. Investigators say a fire killed the power to the entire airport on Sunday and damaged the backup system as well. Thousands were left stranded in the dark.
All the airlines that are like canceled, they're saying that we have to leave the airport, basically. There are people here who have nowhere to go, so like, what do you want us to do?
The power was out for nearly 12 hours before coming back on just before midnight. And the power outage problems in Atlanta are having lingering impacts here in Indianapolis. Several flights to and from Atlanta have been canceled already, and more disruptions are expected throughout the day. Even if you're not flying through Atlanta, be sure to check with your airline before heading to the airport. Autopsies will be performed today for 3 people killed in a small plane crash in southeastern Indiana. We're still waiting to learn the identities of these victims. The plane crashed Saturday night near Oldenburg, Indiana. That's in Franklin County. When it crashed, the plane was en route from Kansas City, Missouri to Maryland. The FAA and state police are both investigating. One of the suspects accused of killing a well-known Northwest Side doctor is expected to be in court this morning. Karan Bickham-Hurst and a 17-year-old are behind bars in connection to the murder of Dr. Kevin Rogers. It appears for now there are no plans to charge the 17-year-old as an adult. Since he's a juvenile, we will not be releasing his name. Marion County has until the end of the day to respond to a request of disgraced Indianapolis City County Councilor Jeff Miller. He's asking for a special prosecutor. Miller faces 3 felony counts of child molestation stemming from allegations he inappropriately touched young girls in his home. He has pleaded not guilty to the charges. Miller has also ignored calls to resign from the council by his peers. A vote on the hotly contested new tax bill is right around the corner. Just how soon the Republican tax plan could be put to the test in the Senate. And President Vladimir Putin thanking the United States this morning, the role he says the U.S. played in a stopped terror attack in Russia. Time now is 6:39. You're watching Good Morning Indiana. We'll be right back. Welcome back. As soon as tomorrow, the Senate could vote on the Republican tax overhaul. President Trump pushing to have the bill signed by Christmas. The final version will consolidate the tax brackets and should provide tax breaks for American families. Critics, though, say it doesn't do enough to help the middle class. The Republicans say they have the votes to pass the bill, despite the fact Senator John McCain will likely miss the vote while he battles brain cancer. Russian President Vladimir Putin thanking President President Trump and the CIA for helping them foil a bombing plot. Putin called President Trump for the second time in 3 days. Sources say the CIA helped the Russian intelligence services trace, detect, and arrest an ISIS terror cell in St. Petersburg. The attack was planned for Saturday at a cathedral popular with tourists. Putin says Russia will return the favor in a similar situation. At least 5 people are dead this morning in the country of Chile after a landslide swept through the region. As many as 15 others are still missing and 8 people are being treated at the hospital. A landslide swept through a remote village in southern Chile over the weekend. Heavy rain in the area is being blamed for the slide. Crews are still working to dig through the rubble to search for survivors. Time now is 6:44. Let's toss things over to Todd for a check at our unseasonably warm weather forecast.
Yeah, that's the good news, Meredith. Not only today, but really much of this week, we are going to be dealing with afternoon highs that are going to be above normal. A little speed bump this morning with a little bit of patchy drizzle and fog out there, but as you walk out the door, if you haven't done so already, the temperature is rather mild for this time of year, but colder weather is coming as we push towards the Christmas holiday a week from today. All right, here are the visibilities, and as you look at it, the numbers really don't jump out at you as being all that bad. Mile and 3/4 in Muncie is the lowest official visibility we have, but notice these dark areas of gray. That's where the visibility is the lowest. Just don't have a reading coming from there, but the fog in much of the Richmond area and Wayne County is reduced, and really along Interstate 70 as you work your way back towards Indianapolis. That's probably your biggest trouble spot as far as visibilities go. We're all dealing with a little bit of patchy drizzle, though. It's simply so light, radar can't pick it up, but most likely at some point through your morning commute, you'll have to throw on the windshield wipers just here and there to clean off the windshield, but we never get into any heavy rainfall today, and we never get into any steady rain. In fact, the drizzle will kind of decrease as we get into the afternoon hours, but overall, it's kind of just a blah day for us. It's certainly not bright out as the clouds will hang tough all day long, but again, temperatures will be climbing into the mid to upper 40s across the area, and that is going to put us nearly 10 degrees above normal. And if you have plans this evening, as you continue to push towards Christmas, maybe you have some Christmas dinners you're heading, some holiday parties for your company, temperatures will be in the 40s with mostly cloudy skies. Now tomorrow we stay mild, but we get the sunshine back, so not only is it warmer, but it's brighter as well. In fact, Tuesday is probably the best day of the week with temperatures that'll be in the low 50s with the sunshine. It's a great day for us. And then as we look forward into the rest of the week, temperatures are going to be up and down, but they're going to remain above the normal high of 38. Wednesday we cool down into the low 40s, but by the time we get to Friday, we're looking at temperatures that could be close to 60 degrees in many locations, but then you see the big drop off heading into Saturday. So Friday, mid 50s with rain developing across the area. That rain is associated with the cold front that'll come through, and then once that cold front comes through, we do get a cold blast of air that's going to start to settle into the area on Sunday and also into Christmas Day, and there could be a little bit of snow accompanying with that. We're not looking at a big snowstorm, but as that colder air comes in, a lot of times some snow showers will accompany it. So by Saturday morning, some snow showers will be possible. A few flurries will mix in on Sunday as well, with a high of only 35 degrees. So once we get past the clouds today, it's a pretty nice stretch of weather Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with the sunshine before that cold front arrives, Elaine, as we head into the day on Friday.
Hard to believe it's December. Thank you, Todd. As you are taking to the roads this morning, I have a few crashes to point out to you. We have this crash in the Plainfield area, and that's at Main Street at US 40 at Mecklenburg Drive. We also have an injury crash, 30th Street at Franklin Road. And then let's take a look at this. The right lane is blocked on westbound I-70 at Rural Street, causing a lot of stop-and-go traffic up to Emerson Avenue. This is because of a crash. So let's take a look at that crash on our live-in.traffic cams. Here's a look at I-70 at Rural Street. Keystone Avenue, you can see on that right side of the screen, you can see the law enforcement is still out there on the scene of the crash, and traffic is definitely moving slowly. So if this is part of your commute, you're going to want to give yourself some extra time this morning.
Elena, thank you. The force is strong with Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Over the weekend, it ruled the box office with the second biggest U.S. opening ever. The latest installment in the saga brought in an estimated $20 million, falling right behind its predecessor, The Force Awakens. Worldwide, The Last Jedi has made $450 million. On the film rating website Rotten Tomatoes, critics have given it more than 90%, but the audience hasn't been so generous, with the film's score hovering around 50%. And the Indiana Pacers are back to their winning ways. They snapped a two-game losing streak with a 109-97 victory over the Brooklyn Nets. Once again, Victor Oladipo led the way for the blue and gold, finishing it with 26 points and 7 rebounds. The Pacers now return home tonight for a matchup with Brad Stevens and the Boston Celtics. New this morning, the holidays are all about giving, so one man decided to share the gift of music with strangers at a Goodwill store. He simply walked up to a random piano and started playing. Take a listen. He has got some fancy finger work going on there. Pretty impressive piano playing right there. Good Morning Indiana continues right after this break as we break down another record-setting year for homicides in the city of Indianapolis.
From the only station working for you, this is RTV6 Good Morning Indiana.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time now is 6:53. I'm Meredith Barrick. It is a very busy Monday, and we've got it all covered for you. Our team of reporters are breaking down the record-setting violence in Indianapolis. Elena Martella is making sure your drive into work is smooth. We start things off, though, with meteorologist Todd Clausen and your Monday morning forecast.
And Meredith, we're dealing with a little bit of patchy drizzle and some patchy fog out there. Here's a live look. Downtown Indianapolis, the temperatures rather sit at 42 degrees in Indianapolis, as well as Lafayette, 43 in Bloomington. As we work our way throughout the course of the morning, we'll see our temperatures hold pretty steady, and that's due to a lot of cloud cover that's out there. So it's a dreary start, but it's a rather mild start. We never lose the clouds. They're with us throughout the entire day, so it's a cloudy day for us, but eventually it turns pretty mild with high temperatures in the upper 40s to right around 50 degrees. Nicole?
Just minutes ago, we learned new information about the city's latest homicide. Police are confirming that the victim is a man in his 20s. And just minutes ago, I was standing here as they actually brought that man's body out of a townhome on the northeast side. His family screaming and crying as police brought that body out. Now, here's what we know about it. It happened around 12:30 this morning at the Hawthorne Place Apartments near 34th and Emerson. Police tell us it was family members who found the victim and flagged down officers when they arrived on scene. Right now, we do know the victim was shot several times, but police are now looking for the suspect, the person responsible. If you have any information, please contact Crime Stoppers. That number is 317-262-TIPS. Julie.
Nicole, the neighborhood where this morning's homicide happened is considered Arlington Woods. So far, there have been 6 homicides in that area this year. We are also seeing some interesting trends when comparing this year's numbers to last year's. In 2016, out of 149 homicides, 30% happened in 2 neighborhoods, the Near East Side and the Martindale-Brightwood neighborhood. The Near East Side was the deadliest last year with 24 homicides. Martindale-Brightwood was the second deadliest with 19. This year we have seen a decrease. So far there have been 10 homicides on the Near East Side. That's about a 60% drop. As of today, there has also been a drop in the Martindale-Brightwood area. There have been 11 homicides. Now, both of those neighborhoods where we have seen the drop, they were part of test zones for targeted enforcement by IMPD. That was dubbed Operation New Normal. Meredith?
If you would like to take a closer look at the crime data from this year, the RTV6 app is the place to go. We have a complete breakdown of every homicide in 2017, including a look at the most dangerous neighborhoods in the city. That's all just a click away on the RTV6 app. And as we've broken the homicide record in Indianapolis, there's another man fighting for his life after a shooting yesterday afternoon. Metro police say he was shot multiple times on Indy's west side near 32nd and Elmira. Elmira streets. At last check, that victim remains in critical condition. And we're learning more about the fires, 2 fires that injured 6 firefighters at the former Thompson RCA plant in Marion. Investigators now ruling it arson. They say both fires were intentionally set on Saturday. The fire heavily damaging the facility. Crews are trying to figure out who set those fires. Indianapolis firefighters believe an overheated lithium-ion battery in a toy set this fire. 4 families were displaced from an East Side apartment complex. It happened yesterday near I-70 and Mithofer Road. A woman living there told investigators she saw smoke coming out of a storage room and evacuated the building. Everyone made it out safely. New details in the case of 2 murdered Delphi teens. Investigators searching for the killer of Abby Williams and Libby German say a recent segment on Dr. Phil is leading to a resurgence in tips. Indiana State Police Sergeant Kim Riley says up until last Wednesday's segment, police were getting about 2 to 5 tips a day. But then about 140 tips came in within 20 hours of the segment airing. If you have any information on this case, we're urging you to call the FBI tip line. That number 844-459-5786. We also have it online in all of our Delphi stories on the IndyChannel.com and the RTV6 app. IU graduate Tavis Smiley, who's facing allegations of sexual misconduct, will be on Good Morning America today. Last week, PBS suspended Smiley, the network saying there are multiple credible claims against him. He then said the allegations against him are false. GMA starts in just minutes at 7 o'clock. Starting today, IPS making sure students have something to eat during winter break. Breakfast will be offered from 8 to 9 o'clock at 3 schools with lunch available daily at all sites. Your child doesn't have to be an IPS student to take advantage of this. They're offering meals until the 29th. To find a list of locations, just click the Hot Button section at theindychannel.com. And if you're in need of a trim today, Kenny's is where you need to be. For the 2nd year in a row, Kenny's Academy of Barbering and Kenny's Barbershop are holding Haircuts for All. They hope to give away 1,000 free haircuts to veterans, first responders, the homeless, or anyone else who just needs a haircut. The free haircuts run from noon until 6 today at those Kenny's locations on your screen. Elena.
As you're taking to the roads this morning, a few crashes to point out to you. We have this crash in the Plainfield area, and that is at US 40 Mecklenburg Drive. We also have this crash on westbound I-70 at Rural Street. Lots of stop and go all the way back to Emerson Avenue with that. Then up on the north side, a crash on westbound I-465 at Meridian Street. Todd.
And as you walk out the door this morning and take to the roadways, there's a little bit of patchy drizzle. There's some patchy fog as well. The fog isn't super thick. That's the good news. And throughout the day today, it's just essentially cloudy with temperatures running above normal. We'll see our highs eventually climb up into the upper 40s across the area, which will be a full 10 degrees above normal, but it's not bright. Tomorrow we get the sunshine back, so that's the good news. Not only do we have the sunshine, it's warmer, a high of 53 degrees, sunny but cooler on Wednesday, then back up to 50 degrees for the first day of winter on Thursday, and then Friday 56 degrees. It's mild, but it's wet as rain showers develop, followed by colder air coming in for the weekend.
All right, thank you, Todd. We're back in 25 minutes and throughout Good Morning America with news, weather, and traffic updates. Remember, all your news throughout the day can be found on the RTV6 app. Thanks for watching Good Morning Indiana.